best of Fighting Scott Athletics. You guys don't move real quick, do you? So a special thank you to Jane Pratt and the Bill Axline families for all they've done for athletics at Monmouth. Over the past year, the Monmouth College Athletic Hall of Fame has lost two valued members with the passing of Roger Sander, class of 1978. Roger had an outstanding basketball career and mentored many student athletes during his time at the college. Bill Laxon, class of 1943, had one of the greatest Midwest Conference track meets in school history, scoring in 7 events. Luke and Michael, I probably should have known Bill back in the day, I guess, if he was running 7 events, right? He was good. The college also mourns the passing of Trustee Emeritus H. Safford Peacock, who passed away in July. The Peacock family's generous gift allowed Monmouth College to construct a state-of-the-art baseball and soccer facility located just off campus, Peacock Park. So please join me in a moment of reflection to recognize the passing of these men and loved ones we've lost during the past year. Thank you. I'd like to thank the members of our Student Athlete Advisory Committee serving as hosts for us this morning and passing out programs. The mission of the National Student Athlete Advisory Committee is to enhance the total student athlete experience by promoting opportunity, protecting student athlete welfare, and fostering a positive student athlete image. So, Gannon and Grant, thanks for your work this morning. Appreciate it. A little bit of business for everybody. The homecoming parade will take place on East Broadway, just a block south of here, between 6th Street and 9th Street. It'll begin at 11:30 a.m. It'll include the College Pipe Band, the Fighting Scots Marching Band, and those reunion classes in the parade would be the 2023 Homecoming Court, Alumni Award recipients, our Hall of Fame inductees, as well as the 40-year, 35-year, 30, 10, and 5-year reunion classes. The football game against Grinnell College will kick off at a special 2 p.m. start time in Zorn Stadium. We ask that our 3 inductees be at the 50-yard line. I'll be there to meet you at 1:45, just before the coin toss, to be recognized to the crowd. And then you're done for us for the day, so enjoy the rest of your afternoon, hopefully. So that's kind of the bookkeeping. We'll get right into the program. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the #1 fan of Fighting Scott Athletics, Dr. Clarence Wyatt, President of Monmouth College.
Good morning, everyone. And first, I want to say congratulations to all of you all what we had here and this opportunity to recognize all these teams, not just on the as athletes, student athletes at Monmouth College, but for all you've done in the rest of your lives. And that's really just my brief message this morning. Is obviously all three of our honorees possess and still possess great athletic skill. But that wasn't all that carried them to success. It was discipline. It was character. It was a commitment to excellence. It was putting the team ahead of themselves. And that is the great thing about Monmouth College athletics for me. Certainly, I enjoy watching all of our teams play and being excited at the pass that's broken up, or the sack that happens, or the breakaway run, or the steal on the basketball court, or your own example of that. But what I really enjoy is then seeing those students also off the field, off the court, out of the pool, and seeing the kind of people they are in the classroom, in student government, just how they treat their fellow students and the other members of this community. And certainly, in the case of our honorees today, to see how all those characteristics have carried them forward in success and contribution in their communities long after the last recipient has gone. To me, that is the essence of Fighting Scott Athletics. That's what we honor today. Thank all of you all for being here. And thank Dr. James for all that he does to make Fighting Scots Athletics such a special thing.
pleasure of introducing our first inductee, and that's Michael Blodgett, class of 2011. Anyone that knows Michael recognizes he is a man of many talents. When asked to introduce Michael to this gathering, I chose to begin with a list of qualities that make him the unique and special person those of us who know him. He's highly intelligent, he's interested in many, many things. He's tremendously passionate, he always worked very, very hard. He has a great work ethic, he listened, he learned, and he looked for ways to improve. As President Wyatt said, Michael was maybe the ultimate team first guy. That's a rare trait to give yourself for the betterment of the team. More and more rare as time goes on, unfortunately. He's competitive in everything he does. I remember coming in during two-a-day track practice to a huge argument, fight going on in the cafeteria at 8 o'clock in the morning. And come to find out we were arguing over some kind of a Trivial Pursuit game or some type of brain game we had played the night before. Michael was arguing vehemently with Mary Kate, one of our great distance runners, who also could run her mouth pretty well. And come to find out, Michael's team had continued to win, maybe because of his ability, but I really think he probably fixed the team so that he knew he had the brightest people in the right categories. Michael had some great accomplishments in football. The Fighting Scots were 31-4 during his 3 All-Midwest Conference seasons. They never lost a league game. Michael doubled as a kick and punt returner, leading to his all-purpose school record of 2,480 yards in a season and 5,007 for his career. I'm not a huge statistics guy, but some of these bear description. He had 12 100-yard receiving games in one season. Second on that list has 5. He had 21 100-yard receiving games in his career. Second on that list is 10. He had 126 pass receptions in a single season. That's 30 more than second place, who had 96. He had 297 in his career. That's 57 more than the second place guy with 240. So Michael's almost a year and a half ahead of everybody else in pass receptions. He had 1,687 yards in a season, career mark of 4,087 total yards. That's 1,300 yards more than the second place guy at 2,785. Of course, he helped the team to 3 conference football titles with his play. While I didn't have the pleasure to coach Michael in football, I got to watch, and that was always fun. I can distinctly remember Coach Bell coming into my office one day and sticking his head at the door and saying, "What the hell are fly-in sprints?" Those are something we do routinely in track that are high-quality effort over short distances. And I said, "Why?" He said, "Michael says we aren't fit enough for the end of the season. We need to change up our conditioning." I said, "Do you trust him?" He said, "Of course." I said, "Then stay out of it and let him take care of it." So the football team, I assume, went on to do some fly-in sprints, and Michael got them ready for the end of the season. So that's a lot about his football career. I also, of course, enjoyed working with him in track and field. Michael helped the team in many ways, running the sprints with a 100-meter PR of 11:04, a javelin best of 170.12. I'm still trying to remember why he would have ever been interested in throwing the javelin. He ran really quality red legs on relay teams, but it was in the horizontal jumps where he excelled the most. He won conference titles with a 23-foot, 2 3/4 inch long jump, and he also won the triple jump going 46 feet 3/4 of an inch. While there were some other talented athletes on those track teams, Michael always managed to push the workouts in practice. That made those around him better. He was named the 2011 Midwest Conference Indoor Field Performer of the Meet by the conference coaches, also a great honor. His teams managed 8 straight Midwest Conference titles during his time on the track. So 11 Midwest Conference team championships combined with his football is a pretty good career. I previously mentioned Michael's personal traits: intelligence, passion, work ethic, team first, competitive nature. While all those skills led to an unquestioned Hall of Fame athletic career, I'm confident he's carried those traits on in his current profession as a doctor of chiropractic in Wisconsin. I'm sure he serves his patients very well. I don't get to see his family often enough because he lives a little ways away, but I believe Michael has prepared all his life for the 2 most important jobs, and that's his husband to his wife Chelsea, and as a Hall of Fame dad to their daughters Riley and Maddie. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Michael Blodgett, MC Class of 2011, to the Monmouth College Athletic Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, fellow athletes, friends, and family, I'm deeply humbled and profoundly honored to stand before you today as I accept this incredible distinction of being inducted into the M-Club Hall of Fame. This moment represents the culmination of a lifelong journey filled with dreams, dedication, plenty of ups and downs. I want to begin by expressing my heartfelt gratitude to Coach Haynes, other members of the selection committee, and all those who played a role in making this day possible. It is a privilege to join the ranks of the outstanding athletes who have participated in athletics here at Monmouth College. This honor would not have been possible without the support and encouragement from the incredible individuals who believed in me from day one, my parents. To my parents, you have been my biggest fans and source of unwavering love. Your sacrifices and dedication to my dreams have been the foundation upon which all my success was built. Forever grateful and grateful for your support then and now. My journey of getting to Monmouth College was actually quite unique compared to most of my teammates. The only reason Monmouth was even on my radar when choosing schools was because my dad worked at Lawrence University in Appleton, Wisconsin. So my only experience with Monmouth was when their huge football team would come up to Appleton and kick Lawrence's butt every year. So let's say it caught my attention. Coming out of high school, though, I was not a highly sought-after recruit for the football team, mainly because I didn't have the stats or the film to be a highly recruited prospect. This was proven when I showed up to training camp my freshman year and received a duplicate jersey number and was in the non-varsity locker room. Luckily, Coach Haynes and Coach Woodard saw potential in me as a track athlete and saw that I could be persuaded away from the bigger UW schools due to my family's conference affiliation. Competing for Coach Haynes and having an outside chance of contributing to a dominant football program sold me at Monmouth College. Needless to say, I quickly had a new locker and a new jersey number with the only eligible remaining number. As an athlete, I have been blessed with countless opportunities to learn, grow, contribute, lead, and succeed. I had the honor of competing with some of the best athletes in Monmouth College history. And that led to, as Coach Haynes mentioned, 8 track and field conference championships, 3 football conference championships, 2 football Sweet 16 appearances. Though I did not contribute at all, I was part of a team that took second place at the indoor national meet. Being around the best was always a motivator to bring on my best. Of course, I have to acknowledge my teammates. Football is the ultimate team sport, and through collective efforts, the success is achieved. Track and field is focusing on individual performances that support the team. In both, individual stats and records matter and are a source of pride. However, the team results were always the most important aspect to me. The bonds forged in the locker room, the shared triumphs, and the resilience displayed in the face of adversity are memories I will cherish for a lifetime. This honor is as much yours as it is mine, and I'm proud to have shared the field and track with each one of you. To my coaches and mentors, you saw the potential in me even when I may not have seen it fully in myself. Your guidance, expertise, and relentless pursuit of excellence have not only shaped me as an athlete, but currently as a person. You taught me the importance of character and the value of hard work. Your influence extends beyond the field, and I'm honored to have the privilege of learning from each one of you. To my wife, Chelsea, who I'm sure will be soon inducted into the Hall of Fame herself. We met here at Monmouth College at a time I needed you most in my life. I can't put into words the gratitude I have and all that you have given me. You motivate me and help guide me through life more than you will ever know. To my daughters, Riley and Maddie, I know you might be too young to realize what today means and what is happening. However, I hope today is a motivator for you to work hard and never give up while following your dreams. In closing, I again want to express my deep appreciation to Monmouth College, my coaches, my teammates, for the incredible impact you've had on my life. This institution has provided me with not only exceptional education, but also a platform to pursue my athletic dreams. I'm truly proud to be a Fighting Scot. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Our second inductee was an all-conference performer 4 times and helped the volleyball team win 20 or more games 3 times during her career. She ranks first all-time on the Monmouth list for hitting percentage of .346 for a single season. She also owns a school record with 343 block assists. During her sophomore and senior seasons, Kendra helped the Fighting Scots reach the Midwest Conference Tournament Finals. Now to present Kendra James Purock, class of 2008, for induction into the Monmouth College Athletics Hall of Fame is Colleen Wilkin.
Good morning. First of all, congratulations on making it here bright and early this morning. We must really love these people to be up and moving after a Friday night in Monmouth. All kidding aside, I couldn't be more honored to introduce my lifelong best friend and teammate, James Purock, as a new member of the Monmouth College Hall of Fame. I'll brag on Kendra's accolades and accomplishments a little later, but I've got a few stories from her younger years to help set the stage for the competitor that she became. Kendra moved to our small town, Fulton, Illinois, in 4th grade, and it did not take long to make an impression. I remember thinking that she was a little bit odd at first, and quite frankly, I was right. Before long, our friend Amanda, who's over here, and I realized that Kendra was really entertaining to be around, and she was also pretty good at sports. The 3 of us spent the majority of our time playing whatever sport was in season or doing whatever random thing those 2 would come up with. The first time I remember Kendra's true competitive edge coming out was in 8th grade. Our volleyball team had won most of our games pretty easily until a tournament at the end of the season. We ended up getting 2nd place, which I can still tell you was Bowie's call that we lost on. The 2nd place medals meant nothing to us, so we conveniently found a sewer to throw them into. The football team's power blaster machine was on their practice field, so Kendra decided she'd feel a little better if she ran through it a few times, and I think it worked. If she wasn't so good at volleyball, I think the football coach might have used her as a linebacker. Our high school years continued in the same fashion, playing sports together and loving life in a small town. Kendra and I were both moved up in volleyball, which always seems to ruffle people's feathers, especially upperclassmen and their parents. I'm not sure if we were overconfident or naive, probably both, but we never really cared. The older girls on our team would call Kendra Bambi, and they'd call me Queenie. Ken was tall and skinny with long legs and apparently looked like Bambi, and I must have had an air of superiority or something. Anyway, I remember Kendra got me a plastic crown to wear to our next game. In her hilarious, clever way, she's always had my back. The girls started warming up to us after we were winning more games than they ever had before. Kendra was one of those players that you could see getting better every single game. Bambi was getting control of her body and spending time in the weight room. Our sophomore year, we surprised a lot of people by winning a regional title. Kendra's skills and our team's success on the court kept getting better. I was a setter and Kendra was a middle hitter. Even at this time, we played so much volleyball together in clubs, camps, school, and home that we pretty much knew exactly what the other person would do. Our junior year, we lost a heartbreaker in the super sectional and just missed out on state, but we knew our friend Amanda, along with a few other great athletes, would be joining us our senior year. Long story short, we ended up competing in West Prairie in an absolute battle and achieved our dream of making it to state. And side note, one of the players on that team, West Prairie, ended up being our roommate here at Monmouth College later on, Ashley Tanny. And I think she almost didn't want to go to Monmouth after she saw us at the first scrimmage. Kendra was a stud the entire postseason. I remember other players getting frustrated because I'd set her all the time. But they'd quickly understand when I'd ask them who they would set if they were the setter. Worked every time. When the time came around to start making decisions about where to go to college, we knew nothing except that we wanted to go together. I'm sure most parents would question if rooming together, playing sports together, and majoring in the same field was a wise choice, but we were always more like sisters anyway. Monmouth ended up being the perfect fit. We worked our butts off in the summer and came into preseason practices in great shape. I think Kendra lapped half the team when we ran the mile the first night on campus. Coach Shimon might. If Coach Shimon had any doubt of her high school success translating into a successful college career, I'm pretty sure it was erased after the first few days of practice. Kendra quickly became our M1, which in volleyball terms is the team's best player. She earned second team all-conference freshman year, and then was a first teamer for the next 3 seasons. Kendra was the middle hitter every coach rules over. She was quick, smart, could jump, natural blocker, could see the court into any open area, and had an incredible sense for when and where to tip the ball. After studying the Kendra for so many years, I was amazed at how much she continued to improve, even in college. She set the tone and example of how Monmouth volleyball players work on and off the court. Kendra never missed a session in the weight room during the year or in the summer. She was an excellent student and rarely missed a class, even if she had to excuse herself after a late night at the Bijou. Good thing there was garbage can right beside the classroom door. Our sophomore year, we were so excited to have Amanda join us at Monmouth. Just like in our childhood, the three of us lived it up playing volleyball, rooming together, and still doing weird random things to keep ourselves entertained. Kendra, we're so proud of the athlete, mother, wife, and friend that you are. I'm sure I speak for everyone in saying that we can't think of anyone more deserving, and we can't wait to celebrate this Monmouth Hall of Fame induction.
Thank you, Colleen. Coach Lee reached out over this summer with the humbling news that I was nominated for induction into the Hall of Fame. He mentioned to think about someone that I would like to introduce me for the ceremony. I mean, I immediately knew it had to be Tommy. I couldn't think of anyone better to set me up for this recognition. It is really such an honor to be here today, and I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for not only considering me, but actually selecting me for this true honor. I also want to congratulate two other inductees, Michael and Lou. I read through your very impressive statistics, and it's clear why you're awesome as well. So when preparing for this speech, I started to reflect on my career and what has brought me up to this podium today, and who on that journey could I not have gotten here right now. So I first want to thank my parents, not only for my height, but also for my drive and work ethic. You showed me that through hard work, it really does pay off. Nothing comes easy, so thank you so much for that. You know, athletics was such a big part of my childhood. I stayed busy in many activities. So as Colleen mentioned, we grew up in a very small town, so there's really not a lot to do. So, let alone enough kids to fill a roster. So many find themselves being multi-sport athletes and keeping busy year-round. And so now, as a parent myself, I have greater appreciation box. I checked it, and I knew that I would be on my way to Monmouth that fall, along with my better best friend. And that in just one more year, our little follower friend Amanda would be joining us on the team as well. I know that that was the best decision because I had such a wonderful time here during my 4 years. Volleyball was a really big part of that, and I need to thank Coach Carrie and Hank Shimon. Now, I might add that they are quite the husband and wife duo. So Carrie always brought the calm. She had such a calming presence to all of us, and then Hank always brought the fun. But there's times that I can recall that Carrie was not always appreciative of the timing or the situation that Hank had to throw in some kind of humor. So I'm sure once they got back home, she probably let him know about some of those situations. But the two together provided this like home away from home environment for many of us. We almost felt like an extension to their own family who would come to all of our games and practices. Carrie as well was such a big part of Monmouth College volleyball's history, and I am just honored to have been a part of that. So I also got to play my 4 years alongside many very successful and talented volleyball players. They've also etched their names into the Monmouth College record book. And realizing that volleyball is such a team sport, like there's no way that I would be able to be up here today or have any of the success that I did without my teammates. And let's be honest, I had quite the advantage when I'm playing alongside my two best friends and decade-long teammates together, especially in a role that's as vital as a setter. As Talia had just mentioned, we almost kind of knew what each other was going to do. And I mean, I've tried to hit off other setters. She's a true team talent, and if it wasn't for her, I know I would not be in this record book. So, in addition to volleyball, I developed some great friendships and met my husband. Many of my friends to this day, we've had so many great memories together. And I want to thank you so much for making it and being such a supporter of me. All I can now say is thank you again. Roll Scots and God bless.
Our third inductee chose to make one of the most difficult races in track and field all his own. Luke Reschke dominated the 400-meter dash at the conference meet and NCAA levels. I've always believed the 4x400 relay was placed last at a track meet because it requires the foremost physically and mentally tough people on the team. Yeah, Jake, that's you as well. That said, the responsibility of being the anchor runner in this race multiplies. You can be assured I was pleased to have Luke run the anchor in two of the biggest races in Monmouth College track history. He anchored the teams that helped score. The two highest trophy finishes in Monmouth College track and field history, and he brought his brother along on one of those races as well. So now to present Luke Reschke for induction into the Monmouth College M Club Athletic Hall of Fame. She was Shannon Turgeon back in the day when she set the school record in 100 hurdles, but now she's Luke's wife, Shannon Reschke. Shannon.
The year is 2006, and my mom is telling me how awful she feels for the kid everyone boos when he runs. After some confusion, clarity clicked, and I was able to inform her that everyone was actually cheering for their teammate. It has been 18 years since we first set foot onto Monmouth College as bright-eyed freshmen ready to take on the collegiate world. And in those brief 5 years that he was on this campus, Luke did just that by leaving his imprint in the record books, in his teammates' memories, and in my heart. During the 2006 and 2007 season, Luke was a two-sport athlete, focusing on both basketball and track and field. I vividly remember him sprinting onto the track for basketball practice and still putting work in with his teammates. During his freshman season, Luke earned his first Midwest Conference Performer of the Week following his performance at the Midwest Conference Outdoor Track and Field Meet. At that meet, Luke ran the fastest 400-meter time with a 48.52 and helped his 4x4 team move to a fourth place ranking with a 3-minute and 13-second heading into the national meet at Benedictine. While that season didn't end in an All-American, but rather a 9th place finish, Coach Haynes said, "We tell the kids that you don't stay the same, you either get better or you get worse. Some will work harder to get back to nationals in better shape." It's safe to say that Luke and his teammates took that to heart, and his sophomore year was a pivotal moment to notice Luke and watch for him moving forward. Luke qualified for the Indoor Nationals meet at Terre Haute, Indiana, where he and his teammates placed 6th in the nation, which was the highest national finish ever for a track team at Monmouth, beating the old record of a 7th place finish set by the 1992 team. Hungry for more, Luke earned a Performer of the Week award following a performance at Benedictine that saw his 4x1 relay and 4x4 relay finishing first and finishing with the top spot in the Midwest Conference with a time of 48.81. By the time the regular season had ended, Luke and his teammates held the Midwest Conference record time for both the 4x100 and the 4x400 relays. Luke also ran a 47.91 400 meter to head into nationals with a 9th place ranking. At nationals, Luke ran a 47.6 400 meter to burst into finals, and his 4x4 team had a number 1 seed heading into finals. Luke ended up finishing 6th place in the Open 400, and his 4x400 team helped stamp their legacy in the Monmouth College record books with a 3rd place team finish. As a female teammate of the men's team, I still remember experiencing all the emotions that came with being part of that meet. Peter became a national champion, Zach Barr had his comeback story, and then watching the men's 4x4 place 2nd, which allowed the team to boast enough points to finally bring home a team trophy. Heading into the finals, the 4x4 men had to finish 2nd in order to earn a 3rd place team finish, which they did by edging out the 3rd place relay team by 0.35 seconds. At the end of 2007, the team lost some pretty big names on the men's side, but that didn't stop Luke and his teammates from putting in the work and winning conference and then earning a 2nd place team trophy at the National Indoor Meet, surpassing that 6th place finish set by the Monmouth College team 1 year prior. This meet also saw Luke's highest 400 meter finish with a runner-up award as well as a 4th place 4x400 award. During the 2009 indoor season, Luke and his teammates once again showed up both in the open 400 meter dash and the 4x4 during the national meet. Unfortunately, during the 2009 outdoor season, Luke injured his knee and would redshirt his outdoor eligibility. Well, at the time the injury felt grim, it opened doors during his 5th year that he wouldn't have had otherwise. Luke came back to Monmouth in the fall of 2009 and decided that he didn't want any regrets and promptly went back out for football after a 4-year hiatus. He ended up starting every game for the Fighting Scots and added a sport he was able to play with his brother Shane. He then trained all indoor and was able to compete with his team outdoor. A season that saw him shatter the 400 meter school record set by Charles Burton in 1991 at 47.76 to run a 46.75 during his 400 meter conference race at Illinois College. That time would hold as the number 1 spot in the nation for the remainder of the season. Luke finished his collegiate career with numerous conference titles and Midwest Performer of the Week, school records, 9 All-Americans, 4 in the 4x4, and 5 in the 400 meter dash, and an NCAA's Midwest Region's Best Track Athlete for 2010. And while Luke had a career that many could be envious of, some may not understand that what he stamped in the record books might not matter as much as what he created with his siblings, 5 brothers, who also attended Monmouth College and ran for Coach Haynes. Luke was fortunate to play basketball and run with Josh for 2 years, and then run with Shane for 2 years as well as with football. Josh said, "Luke is a great teammate and a fierce competitor. As a multi-sport athlete, Luke's approach has always been that he was never going to be beat. Luke's never quit, competitive character made me better every day, and I hope I was able to return the favor. There's no doubt that my best years at Monmouth were those when Luke was there pushing me to be better every day." Shane felt the same way. He noted, "It was a privilege running with Luke and playing ball with him. It brought us closer together, and I learned more from him than just race model or how to properly warm up. I always got goosebumps watching him compete in the big races at nationals, and have had good times and memories with him, Big Jake, and Davrin. I was honored to run in the same heat with him when he broke the school record at Illinois College, and I was glad he came back for that 5th year so we could push each other in practice, and for him to finish his career strong. That same race that Shane referenced is the race that inspired Jordan to choose Monmouth. Watching his brother break the 400-meter record encouraged him to join the Monmouth College track program. Once at Monmouth, he was consistently motivated by seeing Luke's name on the record boards at the indoor track. Jordan said, seeing those times at the finish and start line motivated me to do my best during my races, and I always knew I could go to Luke for positive feedback to help with any future races. Ethan shared a similar story, noting that he too chose Monmouth College after seeing what his big brother accomplished. He said Luke set the bar high for not only myself, but for the program going forward. He helped instill confidence that the track program could be competitive at the national level. He added that he and his teammates often looked to Luke in the class of 2008-2009 when they set their season and personal goals. And it wasn't just his siblings that Luke impacted. Whether Davrin, Dante, Brad, or Big Jake were calling him Big Man, Wheelman, the Dude, or the Intimidator, they loved it. They wanted Luke in their rep, pushing them to do more. They wanted Luke in their heat, chasing after the same goals and records they knew he was chasing. They wanted Luke as their teammate, level-headed, calm, and reliable, and probably too much fun. Luke meant a lot to his teammates 18 years ago, and those relationships have remained some of the most important to him. The same characteristics that made him an amazing athlete and teammate have translated into him as a husband and as a father to our 2 children. He's still reliable, calm, and level-headed, and he's also a huge child to our kids. I'm not sure that they have more fun with any of their friends when they have a dad who's constantly guiding them through play, turning everything into a race or a game of tag, horsing around on 4-wheelers and dirt bikes, having water balloon fights, or more. And no, just like his time spent at Monmouth, he does not take it easy on our 4- and 6-year-old. If anything, he lets them know he can beat them. He's also pretty sure that he can still run a 50-second 400-meter dash, but he has yet to prove it to me. 18 years ago, Monmouth College became a home to Luke and myself, and the track team became part of our family. Yes, Luke set records and earned All-American awards, but he also inspired his brothers and teammates. 8 years ago, Luke and I got engaged on the Monmouth College outdoor track, and then a year after that got married on that track. This home, this family, is now coming full circle with this induction. I couldn't be more honored to introduce to you my husband, Luke Reschke, the newest MCUB Hall of Famer.
Thank you. I do think you do a really good job. Great job, and really great job. Luke Reschke, class of 2009, currently work at John Deere, and actually started a few days after my last national meet, which would have been at Rolton Wallace, Brea, Ohio. Some of you guys are out there still. Went to Sandusky to Busch Gardens, came back home the next day, and then the following day I started at John Deere, and been there ever since. So thanks everybody for attending, and the MCUB for the nomination. Shannon for delivering a great speech. My wife, married 7 years, 2 children, Graham and Ella. Graham's 6, Ella's 4. She also coaches hurdles at St. Anthony. Very special being inducted to this class. I got to go to school with both Kendra and Mike. Met Kendra through playing 2 years of basketball with Lorette, and then got to run track with Mike and play year of football. We were also roommates on Bowers 112 for a year, so got to room with him, Cal Brown. So, taking back on the journey here, I go back to the summer of 2005, and I really drug my feet. I think back on it, there's a good chance that I probably didn't come here or really even go to college. It wasn't something that I was really thinking, summer 2005, but the time was going by fast, and the summer was winding down. I really credit 3 people to really getting me here. It'd be my jumper on the track team at that time. And then my parents, more specifically my mother, handling all the paperwork and just really paving the way for me just to really show up. Turns out, guessing on the ACT didn't work out so well for me. So Haynes pulling some strings did me a huge favor. But ever since then, felt at home. I come onto campus, great professors, the guidance counselor in Coach Haynes, Professor McMillan, Professor Connell, Johnson, guys that show up here, that travel up to Wisconsin to go to your basketball games, your track meets, guys that really care. So definitely felt at home on my time here. So I showed up, wanted to play some basketball and track. So that's Coach Bell, Go, Ron, all those guys in my ear all amongst the whole time here trying to get me to play some football, and that never stopped, which fortunately it did not. Arrived at campus, parents dropped me off, and if you remember 2005, the enrollment was through the roof. They didn't have a place for everybody, so I was initially placed with like 8 other people down in the basement of Cleveland. And so like my stuff is here, everybody else's stuff is just scattered amongst the Cleveland basement. And the first night sleeping there was crickets just kept chirping outside like the egress window. And that was my first memory. So naturally the next night I move in with Josh, 12. I slept there for the first couple months until his roommates had enough of me. Fortunately, I got ushered right up into Grandpa, and the rest is history. But really, getting settled into the college, I would say I settled in with the basketball team. A lot of good guys, a lot of them still here showing up today. Can't forget the Western Wednesdays, the trip to Curacao, which I know you guys will be talking about later. The Knox College rivalry games. If you haven't been to one, no matter where it's located, the place is packed. It's a lot of energy. Also an honor playing for a couple M Club Hall of Fame members, TG, Coach Sander, and then Monmouth alum, Coach White. So after running first couple years, really in conversation with Coach Haynes, decided to really focus on running track. So after 2 years of playing basketball, I decided to really go after the 400 record, really going from that 48 seconds down into the 47, 46 seconds. But it wasn't that easy. Our freshman year, we had a great 4x4 team. We booked to Benedictine, had a good qualifying run, and we're thinking we're going to be All-Americans. And they qualified 9 to finals. Of course, we didn't run a very good race with the odd team out, so we go home with nothing. And it wasn't seen by, nobody saw that coming. But one lesson we learned there is that they don't hand out All-American awards. If you want one, you have to go out and get it. Physically take it from somebody else that wants it just as bad. And so with that, in the off-season, we met with Coach Haynes, Dante, myself, T-Ron. Weekly meetings with him talking about, having a year to prepare for the next season, workouts, where we wanted to go with this, and discuss some plans and goals. There's no doubt that the impact of Dante, T-Ron, and Josh really kind of help shape my career, for being an upperclassman at some point, and kind of help them learn from my experiences. That carried us into the Oshkosh National Meet, where again we placed as a team and had the 4x4 run, placed in second to give us that team trophy. So a lot of good energy and emotions with that meet. I think everybody was crying, but definitely a memory we'll never forget. But I learned right away that the track program was built out of hard work, a lot of effort, and competitiveness. A lot of our workouts and practice would shortly turn into all-out races. Somebody would kind of nudge a little bit forward. We're supposed to be going 80%. And next thing you know, you got 3 or 4 guys flat out, racing each other. Big Jake, you know about that. Training plan. I think Coach always had us a very good plan going into every race. It's called race model. And so, yes, we were very prepared going into everything. Haynes has the ability to take an athlete that's very average and make him above average, if not great. He has the ability to get athletes to peak. You'll find that, when we're running out of drink relays in the middle of the year, we're not running so fast, but once we get to conference and the national meet, Everybody's really starting to kind of get into shape and really start competing and making some PRs. We had a lot of deep, well-rounded teams. I think that was evident. You know, you see Coach Haynes sitting over here working with the pole vaulters, but he's got guys, distance sprinters running around the track. He's got jumpers working over here. And it's amazing he can have such an impact on so many people just being in one spot. But definitely you can hear his voice, and you know that his impact is being felt throughout practice. MC did a good job of shaping Coach Haynes into what he is today, and Monmouth College should be very fortunate for his tenure here and everything that he's done. Going into my 5th year, I was able to go out for football, join my younger brother Shane for a redshirt year. I had a tear in my meniscus, so a knee scope in that summer, showing right up for football. So many thanks to Coach Bell, Coach Braun, always felt welcome to the team. Always felt prepared. Scouting reports, you know, practices, film. Coach Braun was relentless in film, getting down to detail, technique. And when in the game, you can see the impact that would make, because he would be the minor things he would point out, and he really made everybody accountable. Enjoyed a heck of a ride. It was better than anything that I could have ever dreamed. You know, the games, the tailgating, you know, winning games. We were very deep, talented. When you got guys like Blodgett and Alex Tanny throwing the ball around, you're going against one of the best offenses in the nation. So that really honed us in on the defensive side. Like I say, my experience there was great. As a conclusion, I dedicate this award to everybody that supported me. You know, from the coaches, Coach Woodard, Haynes and track, the professors, Connell, McMillan, Johnson, all the athletes, basketball players, football players. Everybody's had an impact on me, track athletes. You know, the guys that are still showing up today were the same people that were driving out to Ohio and Wisconsin and supporting me in those times. So thanks to my parents, the type of parents that show up to everything. You know, they show up, drive 4 or 5 hours to watch you run 48 seconds, 47 seconds. But they would drag my little brother, Stephen Jordan, to everything. They were, you know, young guys at the time, and they drug them all over the place. Everybody knows I hold that Geneseo pride high, so even a lot of guys from Geneseo, many, in my ear all the time, just motivate. So the coaches, like it is hit on, they're the type of coaches that I would want my kids to play for. So I think that's the ultimate, right? Thanks a lot. With that, I very much appreciate the award, and thank you everybody for showing up here today. Hope everybody has a great day and enjoys it. Go Scots!
Luke's being too humble about his academics. He didn't get 1 degree in 5 years. He got
Double major, double minor.
double major, double minor. Shannon had her influence, and his chief advisor was Brother Josh most of the time, because everybody that knows Josh knows you don't have a choice when Josh is your brother or you're on your team, or if he's a friend or not your friend. He tells you what you do no matter what. So, Josh, thanks for being that guy. Well, that concludes the M Club Athletic Hall of Fame today. I invite you to take a look at the previous inductees and today's inductees plaques upstairs just beyond the staircase to the left. Everyone associated with Fighting Scott Athletics would like to thank you for your generous donations. In recent years, those have continued to support many important projects that benefit current Fighting Scott student athletes. We've put a lot of work into the weight facility. We've put a lot of work into the athletic training room that serves over 400 athletes currently. Many things are done with the money that's donated through the Fighting Scott Society, so thank you for that. The parade, inductees that are going to ride in the parade need to meet their drivers in the Faith Church parking lot on South 8th Street by 11 a.m. So 8th Street is right directly have the 3 inductees be at the 50-yard line at Zorn Stadium by 1:45. I'll be there to catch you. We'll step out onto the field. You'll be introduced to the crowd, and then you're done with official duties for the day. Luke has some official duties for the rest of us later on, I think. So the homecoming parade will go down East Broadway in front of campus, I believe 11:30. And the homecoming football game against Grinnell will kick off at 2 p.m. at Zorn Stadium. So thanks for joining us today. Please have a wonderful time on campus. Travel safely on your way home. Thank you.